I've always been a bit of a skeptic, but I can't deny what happened to me at that golf course. It was built on the former site of a cemetery, and the golfers were stalked by the restless spirits of the dead. I was on vacation with my friends, and we decided to play a round of golf at this new course. We had heard rumors that it was haunted, but we didn't believe them. We were just looking for a fun place to play. We arrived at the course early in the morning. It was a beautiful day, and the course was in perfect condition. We started our round and were immediately impressed by the layout. The fairways were wide and the greens were smooth. We were playing well and we were having a lot of fun. But then, strange things started to happen. On the 5th hole, I hit a perfect drive. The ball was headed right down the middle of the fairway, but then it took a sudden turn and disappeared into the woods. I went to look for the ball, but I couldn't find it. I searched for a long time, but it was nowhere to be found. I went back to my friends and told them what had happened. They didn't believe me at first, but then they started to experience strange things too. On the next hole, my friend Sarah hit her ball into a sand trap. But when she went to get it out, the sand seemed to move on its own. It was as if something was grabbing her club. Sarah pulled back her club in fright, and the sand flew everywhere. But the ball was gone. We were starting to get scared. We didn't know what to do. We decided to finish the round, but we were constantly on edge. We kept hearing strange noises and seeing things out of the corner of our eyes. On the 18th hole, I was putting for birdie. I had a short putt, and I was confident that I could make it. But as I took my swing, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. The putt went wide, and I missed the birdie. I turned around, but there was no one there. I was shaking with fear. I knew that I had been touched by a ghost. We finished the round and ran back to our car. We didn't even bother to collect our clubs. We drove away from the golf course as fast as we could. We didn't look back. I never went back to that golf course again, but I still think about it sometimes. I still remember the cold hand on my shoulder, and I still wonder what happened to the other golfers who played at that course. Did they experience the same things that we did, or did they even make it out alive?
Next story.
I love everything about the golf game, from the challenge of the course to the satisfaction of hitting a perfect shot. But one day, my love of golf turned into a nightmare. I was playing around at my local course when I hit a particularly bad shot. My ball sliced off to the right and landed in the woods. I sighed in frustration and started to walk over to retrieve it. But as I got closer to the woods, I noticed something strange. My ball was moving. It was rolling slowly through the underbrush, as if it was being guided by an invisible hand. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had never seen anything like it. I started to walk faster, trying to catch up to the ball. But the ball was always just ahead of me. It stayed just out of reach, as if it was teasing me. I started to run, but the ball was faster. It rolled through the woods, dodging trees and rocks. I was starting to get scared. I didn't know what was happening, but I knew that I had to get away from that ball. I turned and ran back towards the fairway. I could hear the ball rolling behind me, getting closer and closer. I burst out of the woods and ran onto the fairway. I turned around and saw the ball rolling towards me. It was right behind me. I screamed and ran for my life. The ball chased me across the fairway. I could hear it getting closer and closer. I was about to reach the clubhouse when I tripped and fell. The ball rolled up to me and stopped. I lay there on the ground, gasping for breath. I was terrified. I looked up at the ball and saw that it was staring at me. It had 2 black eyes and a mouth that was twisted into a cruel smile. The ball opened its mouth and spoke. "You can't run from me," it said. "I'm always with you." The ball rolled away, leaving me lying on the ground, alone and terrified. I didn't play golf for a long time after that, but I couldn't forget the ball. It haunted my dreams. One night, I had a dream that I was back on the golf course. I was playing a round of golf, and the ball was chasing me again. I ran and ran, but the ball was always just behind me. I was about to reach the clubhouse when I tripped and fell. The ball rolled up to me and stopped. I looked up at the ball and saw that it was staring at me. "I'm going to kill you," it said. The ball opened its mouth and took a bite at my neck. I screamed in pain. I woke up with a start. I was covered in sweat. I was terrified. I knew that the ball was real. It was out there somewhere, waiting for me. I decided that I had to do something about it. I couldn't live in fear anymore. I went to the golf course and found the spot where the ball had chased me. I stood there for a long time, trying to work up the courage to do what I had to do. Finally, I took a deep breath and picked up my golf club. I held it in my hands, feeling its weight. I looked around the woods, but I didn't see the ball. "I'm not afraid of you," I said. "Come out and fight me." The woods were silent. I took a step forward. "I'm not afraid of you," I said again. Suddenly, the ball rolled out of the woods. It stopped in front of me, staring at me with its black eyes. I raised my golf club and took a swing. I hit the ball with all my might. The ball went flying through the air. I watched as the ball soared through the air and disappeared into the distance.
Next story.
I was playing around at my local course when I hit a bad shot. My ball landed in the lake next to the fairway. I sighed and walked over to the lake. I could see my ball floating in the water. It was just out of reach. I looked around for a ball retriever, but I couldn't find one. I decided to just go in after the ball. I rolled up my pants and waded into the lake. The water was cold, but it wasn't too deep. I reached out and grabbed my ball. I turned to walk back to the shore, but then I saw something out of the corner of my eye. There was a boy standing in the water behind me. He was wearing a white uniform and a straw hat. He had a golf ball in his hand. I turned to face the boy, but he was gone. I shook my head and started to walk back to the shore. But then I saw the boy again. He was standing in front of me, blocking my way. "Hello," he said. "My name is Billy." "Hi," I said. "I'm John." "What are you doing in my lake?" Billy asked. "I was just getting my ball," I said. "Oh," Billy said. "Well, be careful. This lake is deep." "I will," I said. I turned to walk around Billy, but he stepped in front of me again. "You know," Billy said, "I used to be a ball boy here, but one day I fell into the lake and drowned." I shivered. I didn't know what to say. "I don't want you to drown too," Billy said. "So please, leave my lake." I nodded and started to walk back to the shore. I didn't look back. I walked back to my clubs and finished the round, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Billy was watching me. Years passed, and I forgot about the incident at the golf course. I had a family and a career, and I didn't have time to think about the past. But one day I was driving down the highway when I saw a sign for the golf course. It had been renamed, but I knew it was the same place. I felt a shiver run down my spine. I wanted to keep driving, but I couldn't resist the urge to go back. I pulled into the parking lot and got out of my car. I walked up to the clubhouse and took a deep breath. The clubhouse was empty. The doors were locked. I walked around the clubhouse, looking at the windows. I could see the golf course inside. It was even more beautiful than I remembered. I walked over to a window and looked inside. I saw a boy playing on the first hole. He was wearing a white uniform and a straw hat. He had a golf ball in his hand. I gasped in shock. It was Billy. Billy looked up and saw me. He smiled and waved. I waved back. Billy turned and walked away. I watched him go, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief.
As a huge support, please hit like, subscribe, and maybe share your thought or any experience before going to watch another video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.